Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and to my new video from my series where I redesign Greek mythology characters. And as you probably already know, today I am going to be redesigning Hera. And before we start, hey, I'm Morgan, I'm an illustrator, graphic designer and art student, and as I said, this is my YouTube series about redesigning Greek mythology. So without further ado, let's get started. As you may already know, I am going to start talking about the mythology part, about some stories and stuff, and then I'm going to talk about my designing process or why I did certain things with the design and why not. So before we start, I have one little thing to say before I dive into the mythology part, and that's thank you so much and hi to all the new followers, because there's about 10 new people from what I remember now, something like that. And I should have said this in the previous video, but unfortunately I filmed the voiceover for the video that I released before this one, before all of you came here, all the new followers. So at the time I did not know that is going to happen. So that's that. So hello, hope you're gonna enjoy the content on my channel. And now, really, without the further ado, let's dive into the mythology part of Hera's character. So Hera, who is also a queen of the gods and is goddess to women, marital harmony, and is protector of women during childbirth, and she's also quite specifically and ironically a goddess of marriage, which if you don't get the joke right now, you will very soon. Because Hera is married to Zeus, who is her husband and brother at the same time. Which basically, I don't think you should be surprised by that, because the whole Greek mythology is basically a big incest. Okay, so maybe the thing that I want to start with is how actually Hera and Zeus got together, because that story shows Zeus's way of seducing women, because he's kind of good at it, even though it's probably not the best skill to have. So, as Hera was living her best life on an island surrounded by a lot of animals, because good to mention, she's really into animals, and the ones that are associated with her are peacock and a cuckoo bird and few others, but peacocks and cuckoo birds are going to be the most important for this video. So as Hera was living her best life surrounded by women, animals and all the good things, which do not include men of course, Zeus noticed her and was like, hey, I'm gonna try shooting my shot. So he went to Hera and asked her, hey, are you gonna marry me? But Hera declined, which did not stop Zeus from trying again, because that's kind of what he does until he gets what he wants. So because he knew how much Hera likes animals, he transformed himself into already mentioned cuckoo bird. And on top of that, with his powers, he caused like a huge storm and, rains and stuff. So as he was, in the form of the bird, playing hurt and, being poor little bird, Hera noticed him, not knowing that, hey, that's actually Zeus, not a bird. She took him and took care of him, and then Zeus transformed himself back into his Zeus and not the bird form, and that kind of worked because then they got married. Anyway, that was the seduction of Hera, but pathetically, even though Zeus was married to her, that did not really stop him from having numerous affairs, which did not make Hera really happy, since, as I said, she's a goddess of marriage, and being married to someone who is kind of sleeping around with everyone is not the best dynamic to a relationship, in my opinion. Also not mentioning the fact that they're siblings. That kind of led Hera to not be probably very mentally stable, because every time Zeus had an affair and then got bored of the mistress that he was sleeping with, Hera went and punished the mistress, even though it was Zeus who was the problem. So basically the dynamic of their marriage was Zeus sleeping around with everyone and then Hera taking revenge on the people he slept with, which, as I said, was not really a small number. So at least she got occupied, I guess, for a long time. Anyway, one of the other things that I want to talk about is her children, which she got several of, but there are two that I want to talk about the most. And one of them is Ares, who I talked about in the previous redesign as a lover of Aphrodite. And as I also said, I'm redesigning the characters for my purposes of a comic that I'm planning to make in the future, and I'm also redesigning the characters' personalities, so not just the appearance part but also the personality part, so they would fit in my comics. So Ares is a son to Hera and Zeus, and he is a god of war and is kind of the complete opposite of Athena, who is Zeus's daughter but not Hera's. Athena is what was created from Zeus's previous marriage before he married Hera. And she's also a goddess of war, the same way, well, not the same way, but as Ares is also a god of war. But Ares is much more bloodthirsty and Athena is more into the strategic way of being in the war or battling or these kind of things. And in my comics that I'm planning from time to time and the scripts that I'm writing also from time to time, Zeus was not really happy with Ares or in general how he turned out with his personality side, so he banned him from Olympus since he saw himself in Ares and knew that he would be too dangerous to be around with. So he just said, hey, you know, go away, I don't want you here. So in my version of my whatever story I'm gonna come up with, Ares is not living on Olympus but somewhere on Earth. He's having time of his life or not, who knows, because Zeus was too afraid of him that he would turn out like him, because Zeus knows that he's a terrible person. And just in general, Ares is not really favored even by other gods on Olympus since he's a god of bloodthirsty wars that are probably not really appealing to look at. And the other child that I want to talk about, I've also talked about in Aphrodite redesign, and that is Hephaestus. And Hephaestus is a poor guy based on what he went through with his marriage with Aphrodite that I talked about in the Aphrodite redesign. But Hera was pregnant with Hephaestus, but she was also kind of giving cold shoulder to Zeus at the time because she was not present at Athena's birth, who was birthed from Zeus's migraine, the way that Hephaestus... Oh, what the fuck? So she was kind of giving cold shoulder to Zeus that she was not present at the Athena's birth, so she wanted to give birth by herself, not saying, hey Zeus, I'm giving birth. So she did that, but unfortunately, even though Hephaestus is Zeus's and Hera's son, so two, top gods, so you would think that, hey, I think this is gonna come out okay, everything's gonna be fine. But when Hera gave birth to Hephaestus, he was probably not the prettiest baby. In my opinion, no baby is really pretty, but in terms of babies being something, he was just not it, or at least not something that Hera would imagine. So I guess because of postpartum depression, Hera took baby Hephaestus and yeeted him from Olympus to kind of do his own thing as a newborn baby, because that way you can really do a lot of things, I guess. So I guess not the best mother. Because one, she let her own husband evict their son from Olympus, Ares. And maybe good to mention in the comics that I'm working on, as Athena is Zeus's golden child, Hera's golden child is Ares. Since she's kind of mourning over him since he's not there, at the same time she knows he's not the perfect son because he's really violent or can get really violent, but she kind of holds her mother love and mother instincts and whatever for Ares. So that's that. Anyway, to Hephaestus, who got yeeted from Olympus, then after some time when he actually grew up, because there were some, not nymphs, some like underwater creatures, they took care of him, and meanwhile Hephaestus was developing a skill for blacksmithing and he was getting really good at it. So he made a beautiful throne for his mother, and when he came to the Olympus, still not the best looking since he's said to be the ugliest god, he bring the throne, put it somewhere there and like, hey, mom, this is for you, even though you basically threw me from a mountain, here is a throne for you. And Hera sit on the throne, but it kind of squished her and she was not really able to move, and she was released from the throne only after her and other gods from Olympus agreed that they will respect Hephaestus, even though he's, as I said, the ugliest god, but he's really skilled when it comes to the blacksmithing. So then he's, so after Hephaestus gained respect with the throne, he released his own mother and I guess continued living his best life, and then got married to Aphrodite, who cheated on him with Ares, who is also Aphrodite's brother, the same way that Hephaestus is Aphrodite's brother as well, connected through Zeus, of course. I think everything in the Greek mythology is connected through Zeus, since basically most of the gods there are a result of Zeus's affairs. So yeah. Anyway, now to the design part, or the drawing part, or my design choices part. And from the very beginning, when I started kind of thinking about Hera's design, I felt like giving her the vibe of divorced woman who is mad at her husband is the best option. Even though Hera is still married, but she's married legally but divorced mentally, if that makes sense. So I kind of went with that and went with that. I also wanted to put the emphasis on the peacock thing, which I now kind of realize that none of the feather things that I put on her really look like peacock, but it was meant to be peacock. So it just, I mean, she's then also is there the cuckoo bird, so I think that could be the thing as well. So every kind of feather thing that is on her that's meant to be peacock, but it doesn't look like that it's meant to be, so use your imagination, please. And she's, I think, also the first, maybe Apollo was, no, I think she's the first who got their pedicure and manicure done. Because the rest of the characters, I think they have like natural nails without any nail polish on it. Or maybe Medusa has green nails, I don't know now. But I think Hera is the first one who got both toes and fingers on her hand like painted, so that's queen worthy. I was also thinking about giving her a crown, but I kind of scrapped that idea when I was drawing because I just didn't felt like when she has already the floating thing around her head like other gods, I didn't felt like giving her one more thing on her head would like do it justice, so I didn't do that. But her like god crown, I'm gonna say crown because I still have no other term for it, I did again as feather, so you know, peacock or cuckoo bird or whatever other animal she's into. That's hopefully not Zeus transformed into that animal. Because Zeus's passion is really kind of just transforming himself into animals and protecting women that way, and unfortunately it worked quite well in the past, so yeah. Anyway, I also decided to give her the whale. Not sure about the word right now, but the thing that kind of like skirt cape. I decided to give her that to kind of symbolize the peacock's tail, even though it's not standing up front like the peacock tails usually do, or like the peacock feathers that they make the thing with. Yeah, my vocabulary is not working right now really well. But you know what I mean, that peacock thing, the tail basically. And also because I'm currently working also on Zeus's design, on the sketches, and he's going to have like this kind of, again, skirt cape as well, so it's like just to symbolize, hey, you know, they're like something else than everyone else, since they're, you know, king and queen and they're just kind of on top of everything, so just to symbolize that as well, since none of them is going to have like any kind of special crown that would queen or king have. And I also went with gold and blue also because of peacock. I also wanted to put some green in, but I did not like that very much, so I did not do that. And I also gave her eyeliner, which I really like, so And also a thing that I wanted to kind of give her is the kind of a bitch resting face, since she's constantly mad at Zeus for doing things he's not supposed to and things that she doesn't like him doing, but she knows that even though when she says something it's not gonna have much impact on anything, since Zeus is basically doing only stuff that he wants to do, not the stuff that he doesn't want to. So, and as I said, that I think that kind of adds up to the aesthetic of divorced woman that is mad at her husband, well, ex-husband now. But in Hera's case, divorced woman who is mad at her husband. Unfortunately not ex-husband. But that is it. That's the Hera of today. And I was skeptical about the design, even though when I started drawing the design on her, and I was not really sure about the designs that I made for her, but at the same time I was like, hey, if I'm going to do this even like for a few more minutes, I'm gonna go crazy. So I was like, okay, stop here, I'm going to go with this one. And it actually turned out really good. I really like it, even though I still think Aphrodite is going to be my favorite when it comes to the drawings in general. So I'm sorry, Hera, not you today, but still turned out really good. What do you think? Also, as I said in the previous videos, my comment section is open for your next or for your suggestions what god or in general Greek mythology character should I redesign next. And also don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you won't miss any upcoming video, whether it's the redesign or any different kind of video that I am also going to make in the future. Don't worry, I'm not planning to make only Greek redesign, Greek mythology redesigning videos. And also don't forget to follow me on my Instagram, link is in the description, so you won't miss any posts or any news or polls. But on my Instagram I usually ask what videos should I either release next or make next in general, so if you want to be included in that as well, go and follow me on my Instagram. And also don't forget to like this video. And as I said, also subscribe to my channel so you won't be left alone without any of my videos in the future. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, hope you like the drawing, and I will see you next time at my new video, hopefully very soon. So bye!